So the logistics of finishing up the Colorado Trail were just as complicated as getting there. I think on both flights out and back, I spent almost as much time on the tarmac as I did in the plane. And at the hostel in Durango, Motel Durango, the receptionist used to work at the airport in Durango, and she told me the reason for that is the reason they put you on the tarmac in the plane instead of in the nice comfortable terminal is if they put you on the plane and put you out on the tarmac, they can log it as a flight that left on time. So let's begin at the trailhead in Durango. So I end up at the end of the trail. I kind of walked hard that day because the big storm Hillary that hit California and Harold that was coming up from the Gulf were all kind of targeting Colorado, and we were starting to get some pretty nasty weather. So I thought, let's just wrap this thing up today. Got to the trailhead, trying to figure out, I didn't have a connection, trying to figure out how to get to town, how far it was to town. And as I was doing all that, a truck pulled into the parking area. The guy was using the bathroom there. And I didn't ask him for a ride. I just happened to be walking out of the parking lot at the same time he was leaving. He pulled up and asked me if I wanted to ride, and I said, I'd love a ride. And as it turned out, it was the father of Billy Goat, the guy I hiked with and talked with a little bit on the trail. And his dad started hiking with him, but then had dropped out and was kind of his sag wagon. He would meet him and resupply him. And so anyway, that worked out great. He took me right to the door of the Motel Durango hostel, and it was dark. Unfortunately, the receptionist there at night gave me the wrong directions of which way town was, and I was trying to find something to eat, and I walked a long way in the wrong direction north when the town was south. So I don't know what that was all about, but in daylight I figured it all out. Went down to the best breakfast in Colorado, which was the Durango Diner, owned by a Triple Crowner, hiking stickers everywhere, watch them make your breakfast. I hit that a couple of times. So the other thing on Facebook, I read that, trying to get to the airport, which is quite a ways out of town, was a hassle. If you call Uber, sometimes they don't show up. If you call a taxi, sometimes they don't show up. So people were saying they missed their flight because they relied on those people who didn't show up. They had early flights, got there too late, wouldn't let them board. So I thought, I'm not dealing with that. So they have a free shuttle transportation system in Durango, which I used a lot for the 2 days I was there. And the Motel Durango was a great place, hooked up with a lot of hikers that I'd seen on the trail as they were coming in. So I saw a lot of people that, I probably wouldn't have seen if I stayed in a motel someplace by myself. I prefer hostels. I like hostels. So the day before my flight, I stayed in the hostel as long as I could. Checkout was like 11 o'clock. I'd been down to the Durango Diner again, kind of explored town a little bit. And then I just packed everything up and took the Stagecoach free transportation system as far out of town as it would go, which I figured out was a medical center. And the driver was nice enough to let me off at the road that went to the medical center, which was a lot closer to where I needed to start walking. But I only had to walk about 2 miles to the highway that went south to the airport. And it was starting to rain. I wasn't getting any rides, but I saw a pizza place there. So my trick when hitchhiking is always make a sign. And so I went in and they gave me a pizza box and a magic marker, and I was able to put, airport on that piece of cardboard, went out to the road, held that up. It works every time. First car, now they know where you're going. Okay, we don't have to take this guy to Texas or something. He's only going down the road a few miles to the airport. So the first car picks me up, takes me right to the airport. So I'm at the airport before noon. Problem is, my flight's not leaving until the next morning. And so just made myself comfortable. And fortunately, the seats in this airport, unlike a lot of airports, instead of every seat having arms on each side, this was more like a couch, and actually it fit perfectly my Uber Light mattress. So that's where I slept. Had I had a freestanding tent, I would have put that up in the airport because I was the only one in there all night long. So my Uber Light and my pillow, I actually slept very well that night. But my flight was early. I got up, didn't eat anything, got on the plane, took us out on the tarmac, and we sat for 2 hours. So we get out there. I'm in the last seat on the plane, right against the back bulkhead. The only thing behind me is the little cabin where the stewardess stay. And wasn't long before that heat got to me, and I knew I was gonna faint. So I told the kid next to me, I gotta get out of here, I'm gonna go down. So I go back with the stewardesses, and I say, I'm not having a heart attack. Don't carry me off the plane. I'm just gonna faint if I don't lay down. I just laid on the floor back there, and then one of them opened the beverage cooler, got some air on me, and I felt better. But finally she said, and I knew we were in trouble, we're going to be out there a while, when she said, the pilot opened the door so you can go stand out on the deck. Well, we're not hooked to the plane. We're not hooked to the terminal. You had to walk out on the tarmac and climb a ramp. So I'm standing out on the ramp, and then other people took my lead. You can't come off the ramp. Once you leave the plane, you can't come back on because of security. But a lot of people were upset and actually left with a few choice words. And then other people came out on the ramp with me, and we stood out there until the plane was going to take off. And I went back in, sat down. It's only an hour and 17 minutes flight to Denver, but I started feeling faint again. So I got up, I'm back, laid down on the dirty old carpet, which I didn't even care. Until I felt better, and then got up, got back on my seat, finished the flight. And during that time, so many people, like there were probably, 6, 8 other flights leaving Denver for parts unknown. And the stewardess came on and assured them that all those flights had been held up also, and that they would make their connection when we got to Denver, except me. She didn't mention me. Then finally she said, oh yeah, and that guy going to Traverse City, your flight left on time. So I knew when I got to Denver, I wasn't going directly to Traverse City. That's why I booked that flight. I had to wait a few hours, go to Chicago, just made the Chicago connection, got to Traverse City. Next time I'm taking the train. What a hassle. Again, hiking the Colorado Trail is so much easier than getting there and getting back. Probably all trails. It's the new normal of traveling by air. Keep smiling.